Full course yellow is deployed. Full course yellow is deployed.
Yes, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of Full Course Yellow, coming to you live from the In Pit Lane corporate headquarters, here from beyond the suburban curtain, overlooking the shores of beautiful Lake Geneva. And let me tell you, beautiful Lake Geneva was absolutely tranquil today. It was a picture, an absolute picture. What wasn't a picture on the weekend, or was it indeed, was a big weekend of motorsport with the opening round of the Supercars. Yes, Supercars are back for 2026 with the opening round at the circuit formerly known as Eastern Creek in the west of Sydney, in front of a record crowd. More about that later. We had new cars, we had new manufacturers, we had, well, a new manufacturer, we had a new commentary team. What did you think of it all? Was it good? Was it bad? Was there actually a record crowd? To find out, I'm joined by a group of people who are going to pontificate about all such things. Please welcome to the program Richard Outram, Craig Doc Gladigo, Peter Johnson and Mr. Mark Jones. Guys, welcome to the program.
Good evening.
Brilliant to be here as always.
Hello, Brett. Hello, watchers and listeners.
Well, let's talk about, first of all, that's the big news was, of course, the opening round of the Supercars, a new era in the Supercars. We had the first on-track display from the Toyotas. We also had the switch of Triple Eight over to Ford. We also had a win. Chevrolet actually got up and won on Saturday night. We had free admission on Friday, which led to a, quote, record crowd at Sydney Motorsport Park. And also we had a new commentary team. Where to start? Pete, you had a look at it, no doubt. What was your impressions, your overall impressions of the weekend? Was it a wonderful, wonderful way to start the year?
Well, first of all, like I said last year, that round doesn't cut it as an opening round.
Geez, harsh. Come out with a bat swinging.
Get into it, Pete.
Because, like in the past, we've had around Newcastle and street circuits. Maybe if it was later in the year or even at the end of the sprint round series in winter, and you could have the fireworks and everything, but fireworks at the end of a race doesn't cut it.
Yeah, I think it was. I think everybody sort of agreed with that, and it really is just. It's really a placeholder at the moment. I mean, the contract with the Events New South Wales, Destination New South Wales, was essentially for Newcastle, and of course Newcastle fell over. So, and then they tried to sort of follow on the weekend after the Bathurst 12-hour and run the opening round at Bathurst, and that was an unmitigated disaster. So they ended up with nowhere else to go other than Eastern Creek if they wanted to fulfil their obligations under the contract, which is for the opening round to be in New South Wales. So they really only had, well, I mean, they could have gone down to the circuit formerly known as Wakefield Park at one raceway, but I don't think they were going to do that at any stage.
I think you're lacking imagination there a bit, Brett. I reckon they should have gone to the estate formerly known as Amaroo and held a street race there.
That would be nice to say tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's still bits of the track apparently sort of floating around that you can sort of, you can suss out. It has certainly frightened the hell out of the suburbanites who are living there now. But it was interesting. I think the first thing was the opening night. In order to try and get a bit of atmosphere, they basically gave up on the idea of people coming out and paying big money to come out and see racing on a Friday night, because they tried that last year and it was an unmitigated disaster. No one turned up. I mean, because it was, it's a long way out. It's a long way to drive out from Sydney. You get the end of a working day and a working week. Do you really want to jump in the car and sort of drive, 90 minutes, 2 hours outside of Sydney in peak hour traffic to get there and, watch one or two races and then, leave at 9:30, 10 o'clock and get home after midnight and pay like a lot of money for the privilege? And no one did, of course. So they basically said, okay, we're just going to throw the gates open. And it seemed to work. I mean, so everybody who was there said that, the atmosphere was much better. I don't think it came across on television.
It didn't.
And I think that's part of the problem. Is that if they had because when they said we've got a record crowd, it's like really well you couldn't tell from the you couldn't tell from the television coverage, that's for sure.
And I think with the television coverage on Saturday and Sunday, they had 3 people in the commentary box, and I thought that was a bit busy. Less so on Sunday because it seemed that Mark Winterbottom knew when to be quiet. But on
I
Saturday,
thought JC was quiet and what Frosty was. Pete, I thought Frosty actually took more of the lead. I reckon he took, as far as special comments, I reckon he did 75% of them compared to JC. I thought JC sort of piped down a little bit.
I think that if you have a look, let's have a look at the new commentary team. I personally I liked it. I mean, normally I'm hitting the mute button pretty damn quickly over the last few years. I didn't this time around for any of the races. I listened. I thought Chad Nayland did a great job. Garth Tander was very professional in what he did. He was very comfortable. I thought Frosty was much better than James Courtney was. I think James Courtney. He'll get better, but he felt like the new guy. He felt like the guy, I'm not really sure what my role is. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say. I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to fill in and be the Scaife. But
along what you just said, they've done exactly what they need to do to fulfill that obligation that you just mentioned at the start off with, Brett, because they've put him in the co-commentary with Matt in the Super 2. So it's only the 2 of them in the box, and he's going to hone his skills and work it out with the Super 2. And then he'll grow it. He'll get more confident, and he'll get more exposure and more relationships.
Yeah, I mean, it was his first go. So, yeah, Pete?
I still think that there should only be 2 for the supercars coverage. I still think that.
Yeah, I mean that's the traditional way you always did. I mean it's the way they still do it in Formula One and MotoGP. I mean you've got and right throughout any sport. I mean it's traditionally it was your play-by-play commentator and your special comments person. Your play-by-play it's the same they do with cricket coverage, and I see that. It happens with cricket coverage on the radio with Triple M and also Fox. Fox have got sort of 2 specialists in there, but if you listen to the ABC, it's always like one play-by-play and one special comments person, and I think that works much better. So
well, look at AFL. It doesn't matter what level you put it at. You've got the 2 commentators. One takes a breath and a breather for about 30 seconds a minute. The other one commentates the game, and then they flip it over and they just give the hand signal between the 2. And as you said, Brett, a special comment, maybe 2 special comments sometimes with the boundary line thrown in.
And AFL is a much faster moving. It sounds silly to say it's a much faster moving game than motorsport is, but it is in many respects. You've got an awful lot happening in a very short space of time, and you really don't have a chance to take a breath because you've got to you've got to commentate, especially with radio. You've got as you know, Doc, having done it, you've got to paint a picture for the people at home who can't see it, and you can't just have periods of time when you're just letting the crowd tell the story, which you can do to an extent in cricket, and you certainly can do within motor racing. You can, like if nothing big is happening, you can take a breath.
Tennis as well. If people are watching it, you can actually give them less talking is actually more sometimes.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get onto some comments in just one moment. I've just got to just got to bring the comments up once again. There we are, chat. Let's have a look. We've got Box is joining us once again. Evening to you, Box. Let's have a. That was the other thing that Jared's talking about that did the graphics. That was probably the big problem that they had on the weekend with the new graphics package. It was a bit messy. They had a lot of mistakes. But as Pete will be able to tell you and Doctor to an extent, but like graphics are actually way harder than you think to get right. I mean, especially when it's a new package. But I like the look of them.
Yeah, and
because they were plain.
And when they got it right, it was easy to read. Like for an old bloke.
seems to be the running. It seems to be the theme of tonight's show.
Old blokes. Just while we're on the graphics, a side angle of it. I like the slideshow Bob Simpson's version. I like the new, like they said before the telecast was going to happen, they're going to do some radio calls F1 style. I thought they were very good at that because they didn't do too much, they didn't do too little, and they were selective on some of the things and what the engineer and the driver said. So I thought
they were clearer.
They nailed.
They were much clear. Yeah, they were much. Well, I believe they do have a new. They do have a new radio system which has been installed this year, so they were way clearer this year. The one thing that didn't work, and I was surprised because somebody said I think it was on. No, the in-car cameras. I just have. I was thinking of our very own Mike Young in on the studio at IPL. If Mike saw some of those in-car camera footage coming in and some of the colour balancing and the exposure and all the rest of it, it would have been no. That ain't going to air. There's no way I'm putting that to air, pal.
There is a way of getting Mike Young's hair to go more red than what it is now.
Yeah, because you had to look at it and it's like, oh my. And as someone said today, I think it was full credit to the noise. Someone, one of the guys there said that like basically he'd been told by someone in the industry. So it wasn't just me looking at it and going, no, that's right. Somebody else who's obviously involved in television as well looked at it and went, oh no, no. So they've got to work on that. They've got to work on the graphics. But I think overall, for the first up, and also for the support races as well, in the main, I thought it was really good. I think it was a big improvement over last year.
I
did notice that they.
Sorry, Jonesy. Go, Jonesy.
I was just going to say that they didn't have any graphics up for Toyota 86s or for the Super Utes, and possibly not the. The Touring Car Masters had them, but yeah, the Utes and the Toyota 86s didn't have any graphics, so that was a little bit annoying. I think
that was a technical issue.
Yeah, it came to mind that it could be a technical issue relating to the fact that they had to change circuits, but it seemed to be all right for the Super 2s. So.
Yeah, it may well just been a time factor in terms of, because that's been all our bugbear. When we were doing Formula SAE and we've done and also drag racing, the huge problem was getting the graphics to talk to timing, and it can be done, and obviously they do it, but it's not straightforward. And there are packages that you can actually buy, like for drag racing, for instance. I contacted the people who do the drag racing timing and said, look, we want to integrate this. How do we, and it's a very strange format. It's not. Is it JSON? Is it XML? What format is this, so that we can put this into our graphics package? And they went, it's our format, and yes, we can do it, and we can give you a bit of software that will do it like that. You give us $5,000, and you can have this software.
Not a problem.
Yeah. So. That was obviously not going to happen. Now, surprise, surprise, I haven't had the opportunity, unfortunately, to try this out, but somebody suggested, and so I tested it, and it looked like it might work. I went to, Richard and I were talking about this today. Once again, I went to my friend at ChatGPT and said, hey, I want to do this. Here's where the timing is. Here's the package I need to get this information through. How can I do this? Can you write me some software that will do this? And they went,
did you?
And it said, yes, I can do that for you. So whether it works or not, I've got no idea.
Look at what's to happen now. You're going to sack everyone bloody Geneva. No wonder the view's going to drop in a hurry.
But
what about the returns on my properties?
Richard, we're going to be obsolete soon. It's just going to be Brett and his AI.
What does it say? Creepy Old Men Association.
It'll be AI and his bloody bots and sex toys next, and that'll be about it.
I haven't tried that yet. That sounds interesting. AI sex toy,
So, I've got to say something a bit controversial tonight. Everyone else seems to be whacking everyone.
So let's go. Let's have a look at the racing. Let's get on to what happened on the track Friday night. Brock Feeney sort of started off the transition over between sort of Chev and Ford. Hasn't been a problem at all for Triple Eight, as you would expect. Brock Feeney sort of back in action again. One thing I was interested in, they showed regular times. This is one thing that really does annoy me about the Fox coverage, is they have this idea that, like people are coming in and out, so we can show the same thing again over and over. And I think they showed the Brock Feeney interview probably sort of 8 or 10 times over the course. It seemed like every time there was a gap in the action, it's like, well, we caught up with Brock Feeney. But they keep showing the thing from the launch where Brock turned his back on the footage
on the
and
screen.
and I thought that, and I thought he's come over really, really badly in that. I thought he came over basically as a petulant child. I mean, I understand he's upset and all the rest of it, but he really did come over. Instead of saying, "Hey, that was last year, it's over now. My focus is on this year," and Ryan did what Ryan did, and but let's move on now. It was like, no, I was really hurt. And I'm still angry, and I'm not going to talk to him.
But ultimately, it wasn't Ryan Wood. He had the engine issue, so he wouldn't have come in.
Wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Yeah.
They're just trying to dramatise it like Married at First Sight, which I'm sure you all four of you were watching. Had to break yourselves away from to get on the show tonight.
Yeah, no, I sort of missed that. But anyway.
I always thought the maths was a kind of thing that you did at school.
Yeah. No, I don't. Not interested in any of that shit.
Or what what's that skier did before her homework before she did that? The 16-year-old girl, Indra, that's right. Indra, she did us proud and got fifth in about the last event that any Aussie was competing in the last couple of days. So that was all they kept on. Speaking of replaying promos all the time.
I'm very, very happy to say and very relieved to say I did not see one frame of action from the Winter Olympics, which is
not even
relevant bit of nonsense.
You missed out.
Not even for Simona.
Not even for Simona. I don't know how she did. Did she do well? Did she win?
No.
No. Well, in that case,
like 22nd out
I
of 24.
think her sister competes too, Jonesy. Doesn't her sister in it? She competes as well too. I think. Whatever it is. Anyway, Brett missed out in the riveting curling as usual. That's just typical anyway. Curling.
Yeah, never mind at all.
What about the bobsled?
Yeah, that's the slight. The two-man.
That's what Simona was doing.
Yeah.
Simona Di Silvestro of.
Did she do the? She did the sled. Did she? Yeah. Anyway, it
was one man and one woman and two woman bob. Drove a bit of different driving.
They do call F1 on ice. Remember? So yes.
She's bulked up impressively, so she's certainly been working on the leg power to get the bob off the line.
Well, perhaps if her motor racing isn't doing too well, and she's in between sort of gigs and she's in between gigs with bobsledding, perhaps she can join the WWF. I mean, main event WrestleMania.
That was string to her bow.
That'd be good, Simona Di Silvestro and Rhea Ripley for the women's title. I'd watch that.
Anyway, you were saying, getting back to racing, you were just about to kick off. Right?
Yeah, let's get back on the racing. So, what did we think of overall on the weekend? It wasn't brilliant, right? But it was good in parts. I found it entertaining. We had two different winners. Well, I think it was very fortunate. They were very lucky that Anton De Pasquale is so good. For whatever reason, he's just so good at Sydney Motorsport Park, and he did very well to win that race. They leave Eastern Creek or Sydney Motorsport Park with Brock Feeney and the very consistent Matt Payne locked together on equal points because of his wins. Basically, technically, Brock is leading, but they're both on equal points at the moment. Also, a great weekend for Blanchard Racing. I mean, they put their building of the cars and all that into alongside Triple Eight, and it certainly paid off. I mean, and you had the situation where you had two refugees from the world of S5000 on the front row of the grid in James Golding and Aaron Cameron.
You saw the GRM post
and
too.
GRM. So congratulations. And as someone said, Gary would be, if it was possible, Gary would be smiling on if he could see it all, because that was.
You would have to
he'd be very
think
proud of it.
Crody Bastecki's off the Blanchard team Christmas card at the moment, would you, Mr. Crody Bastecki?
He's off a lot of Christmas cards at the moment. Did you see it? I love this. Did
I
you
know,
see The Spy.
That's
I've only seen the story in passing. I don't know anything about it.
He was they were at the launch, and Brody Kostecki sort of, like for a social
Got under the car,
sneaked down underneath both the Mustang and the Toyota, rolled underneath and had a look. And now they've played it up as this, he said, "Look, I was doing this."
And if you think the suspension settings are going to be like they are when they're racing, you're full of
shite.
It's like the thing that Larry Perkins used to say with HRT and their aerodynamics. when they used to cover them up, it's like, he said you park alongside them, you look over, he said they take the cover off and you go, setting 2. He said there's only 3 settings on the bloody things. They're all the same wing. They're all the same. It's like,
Well, if it's Ferrari, there's 4
settings.
If it's Ferrari, there's 4 settings because it flips backwards.
We might get onto that. That was very interesting. I got something to say.
So but not 3, it's 4.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait for it to go wrong in the race and it starts spinning around. Like a lathe mounted
Jonesy,
rear wing.
Jonesy with the IBM banner on it as well too. That's
what it's there for. It's there for advertising. Round and round and round she goes. Where it stops, nobody knows.
2 fat ladies, you win.
Yeah, so I think that was very smart by Ferrari. I'm as positive as I can be that we will not be seeing that in any of the races, let alone Melbourne, because I think it was one of those things that's like, hey, listen, last day, let's throw a spanner into the works. Let's do this. We'll do the wing turn.
Well, they had to trump George's joke.
It will absolutely blow their mind. Everyone will sit there and go, "What the hell?"
And it did.
Oh my God! Open up the CAD programs. Open up the programs.
Tell them to get back down to Watting and get.
Well, the biggest joke up to that point was George. George got everyone's little tokens on the ground where they had to stand for the promo, and he picked up Lando's and put it about 10 metres away and said, "You're standing over there," and had him fooled that's where he was. So that's about the biggest joke other than that. So Ferrari wins the crackpot award.
Yeah, I thought it was great. When I saw it, I thought it's interesting. I mean, because I mentioned Kyle Engineer's YouTube channel, and he sort of went through it and said, "Well, this is why it might work. I mean, it's not as stupid as it looks.
Yeah, it could,
but it does have inherent problems." In terms of the transitioning between the upside down version and the proper version, and once again, it's a wider range of movement and a more complex sort of arrangement in terms of the gears and all the rest of the levers to make it operate. More things to fail, more weight. So I'm pretty damn sure that they won't be running it. Certainly not at Melbourne. But anyway, we'll see. They might prove us wrong. They might come out with it on Friday for practice, and everyone will go, "Oh my God, they were serious."
Yeah, but of course, it is slower than the middle activation. But that middle mechanism is very disturbed air around there. So maybe, how aero sensitive these cars are.
Just one more quick bit if we don't get to F1 as well too, because Brett hasn't put our lower thirds up these days. Maybe our new technology doesn't allow our graphics package to go more. But I just want to shout out to the fire brigade, to the emergency services in Australia and overseas, and thank them for putting Yuki's ass off. It was on fire at one stage about a day ago, and they blew some smoke away for him on the back of a Red Bull at a promo. If you guys haven't caught up with that,
and it was quite a big fire too. I mean, it wasn't just a little thing. I mean, it caught pretty quickly, and Could have been. And it wasn't a good day for them because Scott Speed was in the other car at the same event, doing some demo, some donuts and all the rest of it, and he sort of lost it during a flick turn and knocked the nose off the other one. So it didn't go well.
Are you saying that the front fell off?
Yeah, the front fell off. Yeah, yes, very much. Anyway, so what do you think, Richard? What was your take on the weekend's racing?
It was all good. It wasn't super exciting, but there was enough interest there. But the support races were good, particularly the Toyotas. They had plenty happening, but it was enough to keep to keep you inside. Perhaps not all day, but yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, I must admit that, like I said, I wasn't going anywhere because one, I was still sort of recovering from the previous weekend, but also the fact that like I was flat broke as well. But I really can't sort of sit around all weekend and watch motorsport. But I did watch all three races live, and I did have the sound up the whole time, and I thought the races were. As you say, not brilliant, but there was certainly enough. There was certainly enough dicing going on. The interesting one, Toyota had not a bad start. At one stage, they had five. The five Toyotas were in the top 10 at one stage.
Oh yeah, so, the final race, all five made the top 10. I mean, that was mostly because Brody Kostecki and Aaron Cameron had their last lap bingle, but. Yeah, it was.
Well, it wasn't a bingle. It was really instigated.
Their contact, but it basically promoted Macaulay Jones into the top 10 where he wouldn't have been otherwise. But yeah, that was nonetheless pretty impressive. And Macaulay had come from rear of grid in that race as well, so rear of grid up to 12th under those circumstances is still pretty good. So. They're not there with front-running pace yet, but they're close, and I guess that's what we should have hoped for, that a new manufacturer is close.
Obviously, right. Chaz, just to tack on to yours, I'll do my assessment. I'll do it straight after you, but Chaz can't seem to. Even the commentators noted that he can't get his head around the car as much as the other guys so far too.
Just on Brody Kostecki, 9 times out of 10, it result in a penalty. But I actually like the way he races.
I think, like, in terms of the narrative, in terms if you're telling the story, you need a heel. So that was always the thing about Moffat and Brock. I mean, the quality of your hero is defined by the quality of your heel, and right now. Brody Kostecki is wearing the black hat beautifully at the moment and is really sort of getting under people's skin, and that's what you want, because there are as much as there are people who go, oh wow, I want to go and see Cam Waters and Brock Feeney and Will Brown and all those my favourite drivers. A lot of them are going to go and say, I want to go there and see that rotten bloody Kostecki put it into the wall, and
Well,
it's
just
entertainment.
On that,
it's an entertainment business.
We're in the entertainment
on what you guys too just said, the other thing was JC and Frosty said, obviously just being out of the game 12 months and just there, literally out the door caravanning and selling real estate now, has been for a while. They love to box the kids around, and they said those kids, they all need to, all the newbies and the relatively new ones need to stand up for themselves and not be beaten around the whacked around every splitter and back bumper and start standing up for themselves. Otherwise, the more they cop it, the more they're going to dish it out from the senior version. So yeah, I think it was quite good. That made it for entertaining. The other thing I mentioned to Jonesy and Brett as well too during the course of the weekend, the racing, the restarts were fantastic, and I reckon they just went that 1% harder and treating them like dodgem cars, and they didn't mind belting into each other. They knew they didn't care how many panels went back into the skip bin by the end of the weekend. They went really hard, especially on the restarts and when things were close. Like I think what was GT saying at one stage, and this is a battle between 10th and 23rd.
Yes, there was the old Channel 10 era nomenclature of calling them battle packs. There was a group of 12 of them running together at one point, and which was fascinating to watch, to see them going at each other. And I remember coming around, coming around the back of Corporate Hill there was two of them at one point, was so far off the track, they were heading for the drag strip.
Yeah, that was funny, that watching, because at one stage it's like, because I didn't have, and I saw the drags and I went, oh, that's right, the drag strip ran in the other direction. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, they
and
went
you can
uphill.
See you can see where the start is. Good day to Luigi, who's still in Bangkok but flying back to Melbourne in time for the Grand Prix. So awesome. Thanks, mate. We appreciate it. Speaking of Bangkok, I don't know whether you'll be there, but obviously this weekend in Thailand is opening round of MotoGP, and so that's starting this weekend. And we also had World Superbikes down at Phillip Island. Doc, did you watch any of that at all?
I didn't get across all the races, but I'll pretty much sum it up. Great weekend. I've had a few friends go down. They thought it was fantastic. We hope they said we hope we don't lose that one as well, though. Too, even though 90,000 went to MotoGP last year, we could unravel that story, but. Excuse me.
We will talk on that. Unfortunately, the World Superbike, that's part of the deal. Like, they haven't announced it, but that is part of the deal. Yeah. The deal is, because I said to Richard, this whole deal for Adelaide has been put together not just by Peter Malinauskas or the Premier and all that. This whole deal has essentially been done by Sam Shaheen, and the deal was, we'll get you if we can get you MotoGP. You run MotoGP on a street circuit in the heart of Adelaide, we get World Superbikes at the Bend as soon as the current contract finishes. So World Superbikes will go, that's what everybody is saying, the World Superbikes will go through the Bend as soon as this current contract. I think there might be just 1 year to go or something with World Superbikes, but that's what everyone is saying, is that that and the pre-season testing will all end up at the Bend. In which case, you've got to wonder what the future of Phillip Island is.
Yeah, well, just quickly finishing up that, Baliga, I'm only just checking because I want to get the names right, so I'm not doing research on the run here. Baliga, I know for a fact, 3 years in a row he's won it there, so he's dominant, and that'll go down as one of his favourite tracks ever, because obviously if there's only one more year.
And the thing was, I mean, he won it in both conditions, because Saturday was dry and warm and hot, and then Sunday they did. I mean, we had zero rain here, but just down the road at Phillip Island it poured and he dominated again. I mean, he was very much in a class of his own all weekend.
I think that's what Richard wants me for down at Phillip Island Sunday. When the change of weather is, I'll be putting the change of tyres on for him. He'll be like, "Come on, get the jacket up, get it over, hurry up!" So we'll get on to a bit more Phillip Island later. Baliga, I want to make sure I get these names right. Montella got second in the first race in the dry, and the bike behind me, the new livery of the Go 11 Ducati. I just think it's the most outstanding livery of the week, the new ones for this year. That's why I grabbed it. And Baldassari rode an absolute cracker for a satellite team, and that bike's right behind me there. So congratulations. Sam Lowe's did all right. He jumped in the fifth like you are. There's a few ex-MotoGP riders there like Petrucci and that. Big out was Bautista, and he binned it in the first couple of laps, or maybe even the first lap in the first race. In the second race, I think third or something like that? I can't remember. He didn't win it, but he now becomes the oldest World Superbike person to be of that age. I think what's he 40 something now as well too, to get on the podium in the World Superbikes Premier Division. So well done Alvaro for that. But a well supported weekend by everyone. They went down there, they watched.
The crowd seemed to be pretty good. But once again it was the problem of Phillip Island, and this is why it has been moved, is the fact that it's the crowd, like the race day crowd. The official race day crowd for MotoGP last year was, the official government count apparently was 38,000, just over 38,000. Nowhere near enough. they're not getting the casual people going down there. People from Melbourne aren't going like to say, oh wow, the MotoGP's on here. Hey, we've never been to MotoGP. Let's go and watch MotoGP, because it's like, yeah, we are going to have to drive more than 2 hours down there and 2 hours back, and we're going to park in the middle of nowhere, and the car will probably get bogged if it rains.
And because of the wind,
and the wind and the rain and
they had to reschedule races,
and that's what the guy from Dorna said. I mean, he was very clear. They said, yeah, the riders like it. He said, the riders like it. Everybody else hates it. And he said, and that's what he said. He said, we go down there, we've got to reschedule it. We've got to stop it in the middle of the race because of rain, wind, wildlife. He said, just
Cape Barren geese, yeah.
Yeah, there's nowhere to stay down there. Like, for instance, this weekend, I mean, Richard's racing down there for this weekend. This is only a very small meeting. With,
it's an access meeting, is it?
The access meeting with Supercarts on Saturday. You've got Richard and the XLs are racing Sunday.
Well, we're not competing. It's not.
Oh, right. So you're doing the track.
Track day. It's just
test and tune installation.
Test and tune for me.
It's the Bahrain of XL.
The interesting thing is, unfortunately, you're not. There's no admission for the public down there, but you should get a really interesting turnout for that, because of course we're only a couple of weeks away from the Phillip Island Historic Classic, and usually for this meeting you will find a couple of the historic guys, especially if they've done major rebuilds of their cars over the last year or over the summer and all this, who will go down there and say, hey, let's go down there and just give it a few laps and see how she
But
goes.
it won't be their Matic or their Lola.
Just before we get away, I'll get on the bikes. I'll finish it off. Bautista did finish third, so as I said, well done. Thank you for the clap, Jonesy. Bassani was second, and Baliga won, as Brett mentioned as well too. First, just a quick couple of things I wanted to mention was Remy Gardner finished 15th after binning in the first race. He managed to complete all the laps in the second race, and Miguel Oliveira, I forgot what was it, but he's in 7th. He's made the switch from MotoGP and seems to be having trouble finding his feet. And I just wanted to say, well, it looks like it's a shame. Remy Gardner's probably outshined by his dad, who decided to make more controversial comments in one day than what his son came in a whole year of superbikes.
Yeah, he's a bit. I think we just mentioned it last
we'll leave
week,
that one alone.
How bitter and twisted he is.
I think Wayne Gardner was a bit precious.
Yeah.
Really?
Right.
In other news, it's Tuesday.
I was going to say, did someone give bloody Pete a new baseball bat for this week to come out with bloody... He's come out
out of curiosity
tonight.
He's come out like swinging.
There's statues at places.
Here we go.
And then they don't finish. They finish up going somewhere else to play that particular sporting event. That statue remains. So,
Well, Pete, you know what? He come out this week. Part of his comments this week was they can go and stick it up there proverbial.
Exhaust pipes.
Great.
I'm sure that statue will always be there.
And as it should, until of course they redevelop the place for housing.
Or they turn it back into a dairy farm, and the cows can scratch their ass on it.
That's where I was saying where the
penguin
statue was
habitat.
going, Richard.
Have you guys ever tried to get to Phillip Island on public transport?
Why?
We had one of our crew members.
Why would I? I've got a motorbike. Why would I?
Being a Queenslander who's been to Phillip Island, I've had to do this a few times, and it's an enormous chore, and it takes forever. I've got to. You've got to change buses in the city, then change buses again at.
Dandenong.
No, it's on the road to Phillip Island. It's a name that I don't know.
Or maybe
San Remo. But anyway,
no, Alep or something.
These days the buses are pretty good. They go straight from the city straight to the track. So I wouldn't complain, because I've been for 2 meetings straight for 10 years. So 20 meetings in 10 years, and there was never a complaint from the people on the buses because they straight from the city straight to the track.
That's for the Grand Prix, but it's still a hell of a long way to go on a bus, because what they were doing last year is that they were running from Dandenong, so it was Melbourne to Dandenong on train, then hop on the bus from Dandenong and then bus down to the track and back there, and it took 2.5 for the best part, 2.5, 3 hours to go down there, and so not the most comfortable of
Not
rides.
bad from Melbourne.
But anyway, that's the situation. Of course, many years ago they did have a railway line that went all the way to Wonthaggi. I travelled on it many times, and it was a fantastic rail journey. And unfortunately, some bloke called Kennett came along, and that was the end of that. So
it's still there. It's a walking track now. Like they pulled the rails up, but it's still But now it's now you're expected to walk.
And unfortunately, the very famous Trestle Bridge across at Kilcunda is they've had to they've condemned that, so because you used to be able to walk across that.
When I was a kid,
So. Yeah,
can you do St Kilda Piers as your next historical restoration project, please, Jonesy, in Victoria?
I don't want to disturb the penguins on the rocks there.
No.
Just getting back to Phillip Island, like when I was a kid, they had very little motor racing there, if any, if I knew of any. And we picnicked there as a family. We used to holiday at Phillip Island when I was a kid, and we picnicked at the circuit. We went to the Lukey Muffler Museum, and everything was still there. So I think that all the statues and all the history will still be there. I'm
glad Pete said that, because that's about the nicest thing he said all night.
There you go. I mean, like as Jared said, supercars looking at MotoGP money to go back to, and that's the situation. I mean, because they're in exactly the same situation. And as I said, I think last week, Tony Cochran said that very thing. It's like, because they ran it and they tried to make it work, and because and all the drivers said, "Oh yes, we want to race at Phillip Island. It'll be fantastic. It'll be a great spectacle. You'll get a big," and they never got a crowd down there. There's nowhere to stay. As I said, I was going to say before, for this weekend, for August Access, I thought, well, if I go down on the Saturday, is there somewhere affordable I could possibly stay just so I could do the 2 days? And the cheapest thing I can find is $240 in a absolute, second or third rate.
Hey, you could stay at mine for $220.
Oh, there you go. That's a bargain. But did you have room service?
Yeah, I do. You won't.
and you can probably.
I am the room service.
You'll probably get the badge with chief engineer on it, Brett. And I've just got chief mechanic and wet weather tyre changer. So you'll get a better badge than I will anyway if you go down and get the $220.
You've got grease monkey.
Don't pick on my IKEA little bloody punch the monkey doll this week. He's gone viral.
We have sort of wandered away from. So do we want to quickly a quick wrap up of the support races? Super 2. Anybody take notice?
Did watch?
Yeah.
Thought Jones, you'll probably want to talk about Alice first, so we'll get that out of the way.
Oh, I actually didn't pay a lot. I mean, I saw both the Super 2 races, but I was sort of a little bit distracted by other things going on. But yeah, we did. Brad Vaughan was unstoppable in the first race, and Lockie Dalton similarly in the second. It was
and another good performance for Blanchard Racing.
Yeah. It was a pretty good weekend all round for them, I suppose. There's still. There was still a bit of Super 2s doing Super 2 things over the course of the weekend.
And they were on the short circuit, so...
Yeah.
And I thought that added a lot. It's like... Calder Park was much better as a short circuit. Winton was much better as a short circuit. Amaru was fantastic. Oran Park was better as a short circuit. The Mount Druitt circuit up at Sydney Motorsport Park, I thought was way more entertaining than the track.
2.6,
So
2.6, I think it is.
it would be a compromise, but if they had that at the opening round, why couldn't they do races on both circuits
Oh, the real Pete's back. Here we go.
over the course of the whole weekend?
Well, they were scared about. I mean, the argument was they were determined to get the supercars on the main circuit, and it was like, particularly on Sunday, it's like apparently they started, and were basically told, look, in this heat there is no guarantee that you're going to finish this race, because we're not confident that that's going to hold up in this heat over the Sunday. It held up well. It held up on Friday night. It held up in the cooler conditions under lights on Saturday, but Sunday, I mean, it was like 34 degrees or something, and we had like Brody's or Brock Feeney's cool suit failed. Will Brown
and Dave Reynolds.
Dave Reynolds
have a look at the bromance between those two in hospital. All they do is just take nudie shots of each other. Davey and Will, can you please absolutely have some decorum? They're just taking got their bloody things out going, have a look at him, have a look at him, have a look at him. He's got no clothes on.
I didn't see that.
Around his waist.
And that's the other thing. Again, like I said last weekend, if you have failure of radio communications, and this weekend you have failure of cool suits, you run the risk. Sure, you run the risk of decimating the whole field, or virtually the whole field. It's an unroad race-worthy car.
Because somebody, I think it might have even been Will Brown who said it. It's like, he said it was, so it was such luxury the week before up at Bathurst running the GT3 Mustang because that's got aircon and all of the and that's part of the thing. It was a system. The system was very much developed by Chevrolet for the Corvettes. And now pretty much all the WEC cars, including the prototypes, have air conditioning units in them. So it's not. It sounds silly, but when you're doing those sorts of laps in those sorts of temperatures, as you say, Pete, I mean it is a safety issue. If you're having people cramping up and passing out or anything like that, you don't know. I mean, like as I said, coming back from Bathurst, I sort of had a couple of micro sleeps which were very very dangerous. You don't want to be doing that, in the middle of a race, heading down the main straight at Sydney Motorsport Park, and suddenly you sort of drop off and slam off the end of the main straight at close to 300 k's an hour.
I can't remember what year it was, but I remember David Reynolds with another team saying, "My cool suit's failed. I'm coming in. I'm not doing this."
That was Erebus at Bathurst.
Erebus, yeah.
That was the year after he won the race.
No, the year before, wasn't it?
And for whatever reason, I mean, Dave's obviously,
and I'm sure
he's obviously very sensitive for whatever reason.
Because he got flack. Because I'm sure he got flack for doing that.
Oh, he did, yeah. I mean, he copped it from a lot of things, particularly like there were lots of inferences, sort of
And he just also, I've actually spoken to Davey too. I haven't brought up the whole subject with him, but I have touched on it with him. But remember, he also did completely change his diet and his exercise regimen straight after that incident. And one more thing as well too, he also toned down his his media duties or outside duties. So there was 3 things he adjusted, and they made a positive effect as well too. So don't forget that. Yeah,
it was a big learning incident for him.
I think the year that he said my cool suit's failed, I'm coming in. I'm not racing. I think that was when he was with Tickford.
Yeah, I thought it was with Erebus. I thought that was it was. It might have been. I mean, he might have.
Yeah.
It might have been, but I know he had the problems. With the cramping and all the rest. Pulled him out of the race at Bathurst. That was definitely with Erebus because it was addressed in the. It was addressed in their documentary, which I caught up with. It was funny. I saw the first. I don't know if you've seen the Erebus documentary. It's
I
on,
have, yes.
Yeah, it's on.
Part 2 was released on the weekend.
Yeah, I saw part 1 again, and it was so funny going back to that launch again because I was thinking, like it was the most bizarre launch. I've told the story a few times of, Dave McCarthy from Mercedes Benz, who was there for the whole time, just to lean across and go, "This has nothing to do with Mercedes Benz." Like that's really. Oh well, we're really happy. I just like to remind you, this has nothing to do with Mercedes Benz. And sure enough, Dave pops up in the thing, basically saying, we were blindsided. We wanted nothing to do with it, and that was it was very obvious because that was his role for Mercedes Benz Australia, was to sit there, and you had Tony Cochran and Betty trying to sort of say, oh, we've got an exciting, this is a show of faith in supercars by Mercedes Benz, and I'd just like to point out that this is not a show of faith in. It was the funniest thing that I'd ever. I'm really glad. As soon as I saw the thing, I went, "Oh my god!" I remember that as if it was yesterday. It was the funniest thing in the world.
Thanks to you, because the Doco 2 got released on the weekend. I've avoided it like the plague as well too, because I didn't watch the first one because of your recommendation, because you said it was like. So I've skipped the second one altogether. It keeps on coming up through my bloody feed, and I'm not going to watch it.
It was released last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
There's another one, something Erebus, it was released on the weekend on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
too.
I think
that's the same one.
Yeah, it's the same one.
Yeah.
They just re-released it and pumped it out on the. But yeah, I think it was it was so funny, and to see how it all came together. And Mercedes-Benz Australia was very much blindsided by the AMG unit and by HWA, who basically decided to work direct with Betty and just bypass the factory in Australia, the distributor in Australia completely. And Mercedes-Benz were not, because Mercedes-Benz, as Dave was saying, this is not our demographic, guys. The GT3 stuff will swallow, but this. No, thank you.
They've always been a little bit sensitive about such things. Like, you remember when there was the Mercedes badged Aussie racing car, and that had to be changed and renamed as a Euro GT. And there's a similar issue with there's one of the body shapes for Mark cars is slightly Mercedes inspired.
Yeah, the same sort of deal. They're all doing it now. This is one of the problems in terms of, like, as you'll notice even with the Mark cars or the IRC cars now, you've got like a sort of Camaro shaped car, but it's not a Camaro, and they don't call it a Camaro. It's got nothing to do with a Camaro. It looks a little bit like a Camaro. It's got a similar grille and almost identical rear lights, but it is not a Camaro.
Well, the Mark II
the latest update on that, just quickly before you, Jonesy, was on the weekend. Someone took a shot of the latest IRC car, and it's got Aston Martin tail lights. Off we go.
Yeah, they're doing the same.
You go, Jonesy. Yep. Brett,
I was just going to say, like the Mark II was never official. Well, they never used the word that's kind of that American horse word around the Mark II. That's sort of Ford related. They always avoided
pony.
Yeah.
The Mark II was never called a Mustang, even though it was
clearly
very clearly the styling was there. But it was.
I think the problem they had, because they tried to pull the same thing with sports sedans, but with sports sedans, a lot of the sports sedan guys said, no, that is actually a Mustang. That is, it's got the roof and the A pillar and the B pillar and the C pillar of a Mustang. It is actually got Mustang DNA, so it is a highly modified Mustang. So they sort of couldn't do it. But they've also done it in drag racing as well with top door slammers, where some of the companies have come in and said, no, you can't call that a Pontiac Firebird. That is not that is a rip off of our bodywork. And it's got to be renamed something. You've got to change it. So it's happened. It happened a lot now, which is a shame.
It goes back as far as the Grand Am days. Like Porsche used to actually get a bit upset when they would call the original generation Grand Am cars because Grand Am was run by NASCAR, and they like to call all of the Grand Am cars after the engine manufacturer in the car, rather than like if the car was a Riley and Scott or a Dallara or whatever. No, it was a Porsche, or it was a Toyota, or it was a BMW, and Porsche was the first ones to kick up about that and say no, it's not a Porsche, and we'll thank you for not saying that it is. So that was.
Let's wrap this up a bit early if we could, because we've been going along there. But as we said, MotoGP coming out. Aprilia set the fastest times in testing. Bezzecchi was the quickest, and they were 1 and 2 over the Ducatis. So that's coming up this weekend from. I always get Luigi will probably be able to. Will probably scream when he hears I think it's Burham, whatever the circuit is in Thailand.
Burnham, I think.
Burnham, something. Yeah, whatever it is. It's the Thai MotoGP, and that's coming up this weekend. Also coming up this weekend, as we said, down at Phillip Island there is but you can't go and see it, and there's obviously no live coverage, but. We might be down there with a camera, perhaps. We don't know at this stage, but anyway, we might be for at least some of it. We'll get some shots of Richard, rolling around, perhaps. Now, also coming up this weekend up at Mildura, Top Fuel drag racing coming back to they're running over an eighth of a mile, but it'll be huge up there. There's only unfortunately it's not a full field of the Australian Top Fuel Championship. I think there's only only the 4 cars have turned up, but it'll still be like a big deal up there. I mean, any opportunity to see, hear, and smell nitro is worth going to if you get that opportunity. And I don't know at this stage if that's being live streamed. It usually is on 7 Plus. So keep an eye out on 7 Plus over the weekend and see if that particular round of the Australian Top Fuel Championship is going to be televised. And what else is coming? Oh yes, of course, Calder Park. Fingers crossed for the weather, but after a really big, I unfortunately missed the last round because I was up at Bathurst, but they've jumped on quickly. And this time around, if you're a drag racing fan, by public demand, they've extended the drag racing part. It usually was sort of a couple of hours of drag racing and then about 3 hours of roll racing. They've now just basically split it in 2, so you've got about 2.5 hours of each. So it starts off at 6 o'clock. From 6 till 8:30 now is drag racing, and then basically from 8:30 through until the curfew kicks in at 11 o'clock will be the roll racing as well. So that's coming up.
Put my tight Jane Bunn dress on. You got 27 as a top for Friday, Brett.
Yeah, but unfortunately the forecast also is late afternoon.
No. So I've just looked at here. Looks good, promising. It gets better and better for the next 4 days. I mean, a bit of rain tomorrow, 22 tomorrow, 23 Thursday, 27 on Friday, and you're looking at 27 on Saturday, but the rain doesn't come till Saturday.
Yeah. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed, and we hope that will certainly hope that will be.
And the reason I've been looking behind half the night is I'm actually getting spots of rain here from a quick shower, then it stops again. So I might have missed you, Brett, but
I got a quick shower.
Did you?
Before, yeah.
So there is some rain around, but.
There's potential for a little bit of rain at Queensland Raceway this weekend because we're back in action in Queensland to kick off 2026 season.
State round?
Yeah, Motorsport Australia State round at Queensland Raceway.
Cool.
Yeah, Super Minis, XLs, HQs.
Oh yeah, Super Minis, fantastic.
Really old school.
Yeah, very much old school.
Yeah, there's
You're going
quite a lot. I will be going. I'm not on air for that this one, but I will be there spectating. Yeah, Formula Fords and racing cars, prod sports, sports sedans, improved production, Formula V.
Sounds like fun. So that's Saturday and Sunday out at Queensland Raceway. So get out there and support it. If you're in Queensland, take a run out there and get behind grassroots motorsport, because it really is.
Chat to Jonesy and say hi.
Yeah, say hello. Yeah, by all means, say hello to there. Jared's saying, and I'm assuming this is to do with the supercars. 7 Plus also had 7 Plus always has tech issues. It is.
I hate 7 Plus.
Yeah, it's their site is hard to navigate.
Pete's just off his dial tonight.
Yeah. It really is annoying because you go there like.
No, I've always
drag
said that.
racing.
I've said that in the past on this show. I hate
Well-
7+.
Well, Richard was dialing in via 7+ tonight, and see what's happened to him.
Yeah, so he's probably because he's right near the store, so perhaps the storm got to him or something.
Or he's still got some prep work to do because we didn't get to it. We're going to finish it off with it. But Richard is racing down at Phillip Island himself this weekend in the XLs.
Yeah, well, he's doing the club sprints on Sunday. So basically, we've got supercarts. It's a national championship down for the supercarts, apparently Australian Supercar Championships on Saturday. And unfortunately, I won't be able to because I can't go down on both days, and because I won't get home from Calder. If Calder goes ahead, I won't get home from Calder until sort of 1:30. So I'm not sort of jumping straight in the car at sort of 8:30, 9 o'clock, and driving 90 minutes, 2 hours down to Phillip Island. But Sunday, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind going if they will. If indeed they will let us in. So I'm still waiting for that. After P, I can invest in Calder Park. That would be by far the most sensible thing for them to do. But they will never ever do it. As I said before, if I came to you right now in Motorsport Australia and said, I've got a block of land 25 minutes from the heart of the CBD with a major rail line, now an electrified major rail line on one side and a major freeway on the other and an international airport 10 minutes down the road, and you can have a speedway there, you can have a drag strip there, you can have circuit racing there, you can have rallycross there, you can have almost anything there. You can have it, it's yours. They'd go, oh, wow, thank you very much. But because it's Calder Park and because it's because of the Jane family history and all the rest of it, no, they want... What they want to do is they want to make the same damn mistake that they made with Phillip Island, and that is to essentially hand over millions of dollars of government taxpayer money to Lindsay Fox. And that's what, because when you have a look, like Andrew came out the other day and said, we have invested over the years $30 million in Phillip Island. No, they haven't, because that $30 million, most of it came from the taxpayer, and all of those improvements.
And what have they done? It looks, barring the pit buildings, it looks the same as when I was picnicking there when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, they have made they've made a lot of safety changes. We've got the very annoying. This is the annoying thing now. They spent all the money to bring it up to the latest FIM specs, which included lots of very annoying and very intrusive catch fencing, pretty much all the way on pretty much every corner on the track. So in terms of us filming out there, which used to be very straightforward, it ain't straightforward anymore. It's an absolute pain in the arse. They've resurfaced the track. They've put in runoff areas. They have done stuff. They've resurfaced areas. I mean, where we park our car out the back of the paddock behind the muster shed, that's all been resealed, and they have done a lot of work, but they haven't done anything to improve spectator facilities at all. But when you look at it, why would they when they have one meeting, when they essentially, two meetings a year where they're going to get over about 10,000 people? The rest of the year, they might they'll get a reasonable crowd for the historics. Outside of that, it's state racing basically and club racing all year, and the biggest crowd is going to be perhaps
And they never duplicate, and it's not nothing to do with the track whatsoever. But the local government, state government, etc., they never duplicated the bridge to make it easy to get it over as well too. So
and also even if they did, I mean, just imagine the outcry, because if you doubled that bridge to go across, you've got to double that road as well. Imagine how many hundreds of houses and buildings would have to be demolished to make that happen.
And you'd upset the Pelicans.
Across the water? No, just the bridge across the water I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to have a funnel going. You're going to have the same thing. I mean, once you put the second bridge across, the bridge has got to go somewhere. So
you can just merge it back to the middle again, but at least you go stop.
And then you've got to.
I know what you mean. I know where you could keep on taking it further and further and further. But anyway, it's all past tense now anyway. So.
And you'd upset the Pelicans.
Yeah, you'll upset the Pelicans, you'll upset the koalas, you'll upset the penguins, and you can't upset the penguins. The penguins and the koalas are sacrosanct on the island. As indeed.
Anyway, you were going to wrap it up, Brett.
Yeah, look, let's get out of here, people. Thanks a lot for joining us. Another wide-ranging discussion tonight. We haven't had time for SVG. Congratulations, Shane, on your on sixth place at Atlanta. His best result on an oval, and it could have been actually a lot better. He had a couple of offs, not.
Great grass
in
sliding.
particular, not caused by him. And Kyle Larson's put his hand up and said, "Yes, so no, it was my bad. I did that." So well done to him. He did very well. We've got Australian Grand Prix is literally just around the.
Do a report next Tuesday night. I am going there for hours and hours tomorrow night, so I'll see it firsthand.
Historic Phillip Island and Adelaide Motorsport Festival coming up as well. And
yeah, they've got good there, and by separating, so thankfully they've separated them a bit this year.
Quick one, too. Sorry, Brett. Just one more on that note as well too. Rally is going to Pete's favourite channel is going to have Rally on it too. So the AR, so he's going to be on 7
and
Plus.
It's on KO as well.
KO,
okay,
yeah,
sorry, KO and 7 Plus. Yeah,
and that's going to include live stages as well. So that's a good result for.
Got to try and get down to the Rally of everywhere down there in Gippsland this year.
Yeah, so it's always a good thing for people who like the rallying. I mean, it's an interesting thing. I can't really sort of get into it. It's one of those things you go there and you watch it. It's great to film because the whole field comes through and you watch them and it's just you sit there and it's fantastic. You sit there and the cars come and they go and then another car comes and the whole field goes through and then you move on to the next stage and you can watch them again somewhere and it's good. I don't think it works quite as well on television, but anyway, so they've signed a deal as well. Jack Perkins is going to be racing in the Mustang Cup, so congratulations to Jack. That'll give that. They're certainly spending some money on that. That's starting soon. And also Josh Buchan and Zagami Racing. Zagami Racing announced that they're going to be running their Ferrari in the G2 World Challenge Australia, so that's a much-needed extra car and team. And Josh did a lot of good for himself at Macau and places like that. So so he's on the his career should be on the ascendancy, and hopefully
going to start talking about that. Valentino made an announcement too about his who he's going to race with and not as well too. He made that. If you read that was actually you were over that, but that's he made that announcement at the at that round table. That was we knew that, yes, and we were wrapped.
So that's what was reported today by Sportscar 3. So they did say at a round table at Bathurst. So that was the one that
we were very privileged to have half an hour of his quality time.
So so anyway, let's wrap it up. Lots of things. We're back in action again. Motorsport is back with a vengeance, and we've got lots to talk about. So next week on the program, we'll get a wrap up from Jonesy about the Queensland State Championship. We might hopefully hear from Richard about a good weekend of racing and testing down at Phillip Island on Sunday. As I said, would like to do
a preview of the Formula One round, whether Aston Martin or Cadillac's going to finish last, or whether they'll actually make it through the race.
Are they sandbagging? Is Adrian Newey sandbagging, or are they?
They're not sandbagging. They're in trouble.
Will they treat testing as it should be, and if there's an issue with the regulations, change them before the season rather than during the season?
Relating to what particular...
and see how many cars have got those new spinner rear wings installed.
Yes.
The biggest news this week was on that. I'm just relating to what Pete's talking about. I'm going to elaborate on one of the issues. Is they're going to the vote on in the next 2 weeks. It'll probably get vetoed by Ferrari as usual. Whether they put a sensor in the Formula One engines on whether the temperature of 130 degrees on the combustion ratio. So that's going to be voted on whether they put the sensor in to get the reading in August. So half the season's going to be done. But anyway,
that's not right. In any category, testing is testing. And any issues that crop up, you should be able to adjust the issues before the season starts. You don't
And stay tuned next week for Pete going off his dial, getting up and beating everyone with his new Louisville Slugger. The new.
Okay, everybody. Hey, listen, we better get out of here. It's getting late into the night, and we've gone well over again. We will see you next week on Full Course Yellow.